Good afternoon.
Good evening, wherever you are on our amazing planet. I'm
Yep.
Ariel.
I'm Shia, and this is
Being
Here. And today's show is called Love Me Do. Yeah, the Beatles. Big
I
into love.
I was reading the description.
What does it say?
Ever feel like you might be working too hard to be lovable? Tune into Being Here and discover that just being yourself is enough.
Mm-hmm.
And one would think that since we've been together over 40 years,
It has been over 40 years.
It's amazing, right?
It is.
That we should never have a moment's insecurity about whether or not we're lovable.
That's right. We should never have a moment's insecurity. Doesn't mean we don't.
That's in the realm of the, I don't know, the thought process of what a better us would be like. But anytime, you might be able to hear it in my throat that I still have kind of a froggy nature, still recovering from COVID. And I don't know about Shia's expectations of me. Actually, I do. His are a lot less than mine on myself, meaning I have an internal governor that thinks I should be fully well, fully energetic.
And sexy.
Well, thank you. And so there's a drive to do something, to do more, be more. And this has been an interesting time to support myself in just letting go of that expectation, that drive. Those three principles are awesome. We can talk about it in a moment. And simply be here.
Being here. That's a little difficult because, see, you have these amazing personal computers, PCs, your internal computer, the one that thinks at an outrageous pace. If I pause in the middle of a sentence, you can come up with something that I'm about to say before I say it. That's not listening, however. We have discovered, Ariel and I, that if you truly listen, you get pulled into the current moment of your life, and your life transforms as a byproduct of getting into the current moment. See, we have not been programmed to live in the current moment. We've been programmed to live in our thoughts about whatever the current situation is. So we're not just being here, we're thinking about what's being said, seeing whether we agree or disagree with it, already know it, heard it on a previous podcast. We are intelligent, and the intelligence gets in the way of our being present in our lives. So if you truly listen, it's not that you have a conversation with yourself in your thoughts about what's being said. That's not listening. That's thinking about what's being said. It is possible. It really is possible to just hear what somebody says without doing anything with it, without sorting it as to good, bad, right, wrong, like, dislike,
I can't recall if I talked about this on the last episode, and if I did.
This is talking about it newly.
Yeah, it's worth my broaching the subject again because it's here for me now. When I was really sick with COVID and basically sleeping 18, 20 hours a day, there came a point where Shia was recovering a little bit ahead of me, and he would lay on the bed near me and watch YouTube videos about spay casting, two-handed fly rods, in different casts. So I was watching the experts, different videos, and part of the time I would drowse off, and part of the time I would nestle in, and I'd really watch and listen to what they had to say about how to perform this particular cast.
But you weren't thinking about doing it. You were just listening.
Not. That was the difference, in that I was enough disconnected from that do machine that none of it translated into, oh man, when I get better, I'm going to try that.
Right.
It was simply, It, from time to time, Shad and I have talked about our way of seeing as the slack jaw school of enlightenment. That truly was a slack jaw moment. I must admit, I drooled a little bit from time to time.
Is as in you hear or see something and you go,
and that's it.
That's the end of it.
It was like, I'll try that. There was no I involved. That suspended itself. And when I recovered enough, Shy and I went down to the river one morning to practice casting, and I wanted to go, but I said, look, I have about a 15-minute window of energy. Let's go do it. We put together our fly rods. We went down, took off our shoes because it was warm, waded into the river, and suddenly, from the first cast on,
she was an expert.
I was an expert at something that had been over 10 years since because I was looking it up. I realized I had shoulder surgery long after we'd been, that was in 2013. So it's been.
Your shoulder was out when we were salmon fishing up on the Miramichi.
Yes.
So that's a long time ago.
So it was really fun to discover that listening is enough. And it also quieted down that conversation that cared about whether or not I was, quote, lovable, according to the standards that have been absorbed, made up, come along with my culture.
Mm-hmm.
So today, why don't, we have a couple of guests who are coming on to chat with us today. Why not let go of your attention on you and simply listen?
Yeah, and not to fix yourself. Our approach is not about fixing you, changing you, making you better. Our approach is about discovering how to access and live in the current moment of your life. And that's all it takes. Problems dissolve themselves in the current moment. Trying to get somewhere dissolves itself in the current moment, because in the moment, you can only be exactly as you are. Anyway, that's our shtick. See if you can listen without agreeing or disagreeing. See if you can just listen, And if your internal conversation comments, well, that's what it does.
Well, I'm not sure where you're listening to this. You may subscribe to being here, and this is just the next episode that's up in the lineup. But you also this will be archived, and at some point you may be searching under the word love or something like that, and this may come up. And so it's an episode you want to hear because you have an interest in being more lovable. Let's start with the premise, the hypothesis that you already are, and there's nothing that you need to do. And should you so choose, listening has the possibility to transform your experience of yourself so that old mental conversations about your adequacies and inadequacies just fall by the wayside and you are here.
I like that. That's all good.
So let's take our first guest, shall we?
Yes. Let's speak with Tia.
Hi, Tia. Welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
So I am zooming in from Radville, Saskatchewan in Canada.
Nice to have you with us.
So nice to be here.
What can we do for you?
Well, I was reading over that topic as well and kind of reading the description. And I did come up with a question. And I feel like I partly know the answer to it just from the two books that I've been reading. But my question is, why do I expect to be loved when I can't love myself consistently? And I know that I expect different things out of the people that I want to love me. And so really, I know that I don't truly love myself. and I don't know how I expect to be loved back.
Okay, so wait a second. I don't go around thinking, do I love myself? Okay.
That's kind of a heavy
Yeah,
load.
that's a burden that you put on yourself, that you think you have to love yourself in order to be lovable. See, I'll tell you something. In this moment, being here with you on Zoom, you're lovable. Exactly as you are. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not saying that as a rote answer to anything, but I look at you, you're lovable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, except you have an internal conversation that picks on you incessantly. And if you treated somebody else like that, they wouldn't want to be around you.
That's exactly what I've been experiencing. And I'm so glad that from listening to other podcasts and being on a few virtual seminars now, that I realize that I don't know if the word is the problem, but I know that it all starts with me. And that's all I've done for years is pick it apart. I've just looked at it and just criticized myself.
That's
Good for
wonderful.
you.
That's what you needed to do in those years.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier when you were laying out your question that you've read 2 books, and just to be clear, you're talking about
2 of our books.
2 of our books that you found in your local library. Working on Yourself Doesn't Work, and is the second one How to Have a Match Made in Heaven,
Okay,
or How to Create a Magical Relationship? Which one?
No, how to have a match made, have a match made in heaven. Yeah, that's
Because it had videos. That's why.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll go back to the first one. Working on yourself
Doesn't work.
Now, that is a really cool concept, and it's even more explosive when you have it as an experience. However, the experience is not consistent at first. You'll have the
You'll get it
experience
and you'll lose it.
and that's to be expected. So if you've spent your entire life picking yourself apart, you may now have the expectation that will change.
But you see, that's an old habit that's been with you forever. So it's like an old friend. When in doubt, pick on Tia.
yeah, definitely very familiar.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I feel like when I talk about it, I think I talk about it longer than it's actually been, but I've been able to recognize and just let it be multiple times. But yesterday, actually, I had an experience and I found myself just getting upset. And I've been wanting attention and to be with my husband. He's very busy right now in his line of work. And so it's been enjoyable. We've been happy together until I started to let my upset take over. And so I was very aware last night that it was me, and I knew it was me the whole time, but I just didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to.
You know something, dear? Yes, it's always you. In relation to how you relate to life,
It's how you relate
it's
to life.
always going to be you, not necessarily Tia. I'm talking to everybody. You relate through your circumstances, your life story, all the considerations you have about yourself. That's all you. But getting upset is not a bad thing.
Not a failure.
Not a failure. In the realm of change, getting upset is bad. In the realm of transformation, getting upset is getting upset.
So I have a question for you. Have you forgiven yourself yet?
Yes, I did before I went to bed. So.
And did you say you were sorry?
I did. Yeah. And he accepted it. I think we both knew, and we both know at this point of the 10 years that we've been married, that I'm often the culprit to unhappiness, or what pushes the two of us apart. I might want more from him and want him to be what I think I want him to be. I love that definition of love. I'm not remembering where I came across it, but I think I heard it, but it might have been in a book too. And it was that truly loving someone is allowing them to be exactly as they are and exactly as they are not, and or aren't. And I have it on my little letterboard in my kitchen because it's just a very needed reminder for me, because I actually was very emotional when I heard that definition, because it made me aware that I don't know if I've actually had love for a few people in my life without just allowing them to be who they are. I think I've always had a certain amount of expectations or desires in another person so that they'd be more lovable, which I know is what I do to myself.
But I also have you've got it kind of figured out.
You're so amazing.
You're very smart.
You
Holy
are
moly.
Really, really, you are very smart. But you got to get that you were born into an ongoing culture of smart women, by the way. Because from what you've told us, your mother wants to read our book. Your grandmother already got it out of the library.
And we've met your mom.
Yeah.
She's a very cool lady.
But see, this idea that you're not lovable has been passed on generation to generation in your genetic lineage. So the people, and they didn't have easy lives either. You know, these days, life is pretty easy for most of us. You know, for me, for you, for Ariel, we live in heated houses. You know, that automatically.
We have toilets, we have running water, there's electricity.
And when it gets really hot, you may even have air conditioning. I don't know, you're in Canada, so I'm not sure. But
we do.
You do?
Yeah.
See, so you got all these amenities, things are taken care of for you, but you have this mental construct that's been passed on generation to generation to generation. And it's not an easy program to separate yourself from, because the voice in your head, it's been around since you can remember. See, I love that there are people in our community these days that have infants that are becoming toddlers and are learning to speak. And I'm watching them develop the voice in their head that chastises them, that tells them they're doing it wrong. They tells them how to do it, what they should have said, what they could have said. And that's what we've all been brought up in. But, you know, Ariel and I have been doing this for 37 years. We've been working together, and we get upset from time to time. But if you resist your upset, you stay upset. And if you notice it, it dissolves. And it's that simple. And I'm really impressed by you.
Well, the other thing is, it's got to be a little bit of a challenge being you, because you grew up in a time of dual ideas. One is you want a loving partner, and your partner should give you attention. That's one down.
The other one, without our conspiring here, the other one is you want to be a strong, independent woman.
Do you know what I discovered that I was? I don't remember her name, but it was in this Match Made in Heaven book. A dominant woman. I don't know about independent, but I very much had many qualities of being dominant, and I'm not impressed with that. So,
well, why don't you get impressed with that? See,
why am I?
Be dominant when you're dominant. I love it when Ariel's dominant.
Yeah.
There's not a problem.
Otherwise, it's like I'm always, would it be okay if?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, we're having Chinese.
No,
We're going to the store. Or
yeah, yeah.
we're done working now. Let's get out of the office. There's a certain dominance in that.
But that's not
That's
bad.
refreshing.
Yeah. You see, here's the other thing. The roles that women have been placed in over the eons of time are truly unfair. But that's what was. And what you have now is a possibility, self-expressive, but not in reaction to having been suppressed. See, if you do it in reaction to being self-expressed, you'll be at war with men forever.
I
And
think
isn't very lovable.
very true. I think and I am like that, and I am okay with that part of dominating is I definitely grew up with my mom as very much not dominant. And so I know that now in my relationship, I was not going to be that. So
let me stop you. Let me stop you. This is too good. You see, the child of who you were when you said, I'm not going to let them
Like
dominate,
her.
I'm not going to be like her. I tell you, your mother's a very strong lady.
Yeah, she really
She's
is.
no wimp. She's no pushover. I met her, and so I know that, but I meet you. I know your mother.
It's very interesting that you have these labels.
Yeah.
Dominant or needy, or rather than in this instant, I feel secure. This instant, I feel insecure. Or it's just allowing.
See, when you label yourself, you predetermine how you're going to show up into life rather than discover who you are in this moment. See, because you're never the same. Now, if you label yourself, you stay the same. You know, I say I'm introverted, well, then I will prove myself right by avoiding being around people.
I may have this not quite right, but it's close. It's been said that certain types of light are fatiguing. So now lots of people get probably one of our guests dropped off and just made it back. The next guest. That was the ding dong. A lot of people get glasses that filter out the blue light so that they're less fatigued after working with a computer. So they're clear glasses. They don't change your vision, but they filter out a certain type of light. That's a little bit like, my mom is not dominant. Then you put on these apparently clear glasses, but it filters out experiencing anything that goes against
that statement.
And then, of course, it's similar with you, where you're putting it on for yourself, and then you don't experience the nuances of and the full range of Tia because you have an idea that keeps you from actually seeing the full richness of you.
Yeah. And because of that, the interesting part about it is, and it was only till I read this, because the specific person he thought that it was his dad that he was fighting against, but it was his mom, because it was the title, If Mama Ain't Happy, Ain't Nobody Happy. And so I just, it's only since I've become aware of the tendencies and the behavior towards being dominant that no, it isn't all bad. But there was times when I used it and kind of almost had a little tantrum if things weren't just, I'm upset, go and dance around until I feel better.
Yeah, well, that makes you normal.
Yeah.
You're normal. That's what normal people do. They get upset. They have everybody around them behave, or, when I'm upset, I'm never upset alone.
No, that's right. So another thing with this topic, that I guess isn't a question anymore for me because it's already been answered. But when I was searching back in the archives and I found the 2013 one of the words that I put in the search was love. And I might have even put marriage. I don't remember exactly, but it brought up one from 2013. And you guys were talking with a lady who she wanted more sex. And you told her that you think she knows how to get more sex and she's just maybe not. So she said, I'm just maybe not trying. And so in my relationship in December, we thought that it was going to be over. And it was not great till probably February. I went to see my mom for a little bit with the kids during Christmas break, came back, and it was obvious that we were trying, but we were just working on ourselves, which at the time I wasn't aware of that doesn't work. So then once I found this book, it just confirmed for me that we were going to be okay because we want to be married and we have 3 kids together and life is really quite wonderful. And so I do want to just say,
let me stop you for a second because you're saying so many good things, and if I don't stop you, I won't be able to. But you were brought up, and this is not against your parents, your family. It's
your
a
country, your culture, nothing.
It's a cultural thing that we live in this isn't it reality.
very much.
Whatever you have is never enough for your mind. Your mind cannot be satisfied. In other words, that internal conversation you listen to cannot be satisfied. It's insatiable. Okay? So no matter what you have, it's going to find fault with it as something more, better, or different will make you happy. It won't. No matter what you get, never, that's why people get married 6 or 7 times. They think if I change my partner, it'll work out. But they're doing things that are self-damaging, and it shows up. Look, you're a lovely lady. I mean, I know it's hard to take, but I really am so impressed by you, and you're not doing anything to get me to be impressed. Do you get it? So you're lovable, but not because you're doing something to get me to feel love towards you. You're just lovable.
It's interesting, Tia. I know that the people who are listening can hear you, and they can hear the quality of your voice and how you're really trying to express yourself with precision, and so that you really say what you mean. We also have the video component, and I see something come up toward the front of your face that is very exciting to see for me. And that is that there's been a way you've treated yourself that's been somewhat harsh, and I see it melting, and it gives me goosebumps. It's getting very exciting because we've all have we talk about it sometimes like Baskin and Robbins. When I grew up, Baskin Robbins had 31 flavors of ice cream, and you go in and pick your favorite flavor. Well, we all have like different flavors of being hard on ourselves, and yours is very specific to you, and I'm seeing it melt. And it's fun because the book, one of the 2 books you're reading, How to Have a Match Made in Heaven, we decided to turn into a book as soon as we started seeing some of the videos we were doing with people and seeing them have instantaneous transformation about how they saw themselves, how they were relating to themselves. And I know you came to Living Made Easy a little bit ago, and Adam was there and said, oh, you'll find me in the book. I was 19 years old at the time. I'm now 32 or whatever it was, something like that. And it's
31.
31. So it's it was,
See, aerial numbers sometimes get a little
at
strange.
least I didn't make him 50.
No, that's true.
I something in early 30s. The thing that's neat about it is you can see that they're if you look at who they were, you can see the nucleus of their brilliance right there, even if they didn't see it. And I just have a suspicion that you're going to start seeing your own brilliance with more consistency. I know you have glimmers of it now.
So here's the thing. This is not an enrollment thing, but I'd love for you to come to a weekend with us.
And-
virtually, you can do that. And
I know you have kids.
I
and
know,
you have different.
you got circumstances, but it's not terribly much time, but it can make a profound difference where you're not trying to fix yourself. You just notice that things get easier, especially when you talk about relationship. And the next one we got coming up is on intimacy.
It's in about 10 days, the 17th and 18th of September. I'm saying it now, not in particular for you. You are certainly invited. We would love to have you. But if you're listening to this pretty much when we release it, there's still time for you if you want to come and play with listening to people. One of the things that's exciting is you get a group of people, some of whom you know, some of whom you've never met, and you direct your attention to them. And so you're not suddenly working on your relationship with your significant other. Your story floats away. You discover the experience of intimacy here and here and here and here with each of the people and each of the Zoom cubicles that I like to think of them as apartments. I'm kind of a voyeur looking at all the apartments. And then suddenly when you step back into the normal day-to-day of your life and you look at your kids, you look at your spouse, you look at your friends, and it's there in an instant as opposed to something you need to work on. So just saying.
Yeah, I actually have talked to Zoe about it, about the weekend seminars, because I know she mentioned on the last Living Made Easy that it was like a windshield wiper, just not for me. And from the second that I found out about any of this, I was like, I want all of it. I haven't ever questioned whether any of it would be very beneficial. On the 17th, we're actually supposed to be in Germany. So I can hardly believe that we don't go anywhere, and we're just waiting for our passports. But that was like the biggest thing that I was like, I won't be able to do that because my brother gets married the day before. But
whatever seminar is upcoming next that you can make it to, people will be listening to this maybe like you did for 2013. Whatever course we were talking about then, we're not offering now. But if it's something that you want and it's in your heart, you just look at our schedule and see what's upcoming and then give it to yourself. And that's how to do it. You're not going to miss anything by missing intimacy if your schedule does not permit.
That's right. We're not going to ask you to change your life around. See, look, our idea is that life supports you, us, and it provides you with everything you need in the current moment. And here you are speaking with us. I mean, it's all perfect. And you didn't 2 months ago, this was not a possibility that we would be hanging out together via Zoom. Just us.
One last thing, before we go to the break, we often and for years have invited people to write in and say if they would like to be a guest to use the portal at transformationmadeeasy.com/being here. There's a place where you can click and say, fill in a form, say, hey, I'm Tia, I'd like to be a guest. It almost never happens. So when we got the request from you,
what a gift.
What a treat. So I just want to say, I know you underestimate you. You are amazing.
That's right.
So are you too.
Thank you. It
Appreciate
takes one to know one.
Or as they say in German, because you're getting ready to go there, selber, selber. It
Takes one to know one.
means takes one to know one.
Oh, I love that.
So thanks for being our guest today. It's been a treat.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being with you.
It's that time.
The time for what?
Our listener feedback spotlight.
What is that?
Well, I'm so proud of the people who listen to this show. And now we get to hear from one or more of them about what's happening in their lives with transformation by listening to this podcast and
what they've discovered about life, what they've discovered about their lives, that they are experiencing fun in their lives.
and that they want to share it with you.
Yeah.
This is Eric in Brooklyn, and attending transformational seminars has helped me open up my life to relationships in a way that I never dreamed possible. I see how effortless it can be, and that there's not a lot to do. I can just be myself, and that's more than enough.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Our next Living Made Easy seminar, because Tia was talking about them, is this Monday coming
the
up.
12th. And Tuesday, we're doing one on the 13th.
It'll be at evening in Central European time. It'll be mid-afternoon Eastern Standard Time. So you can go up and look at your time zone and see what works for you. Intimacy is the weekend that's coming after that on the 17th and 18th. And then our first in-person course comes in October.
Our first in-person course in the last 2.5 years.
Yes, it
We
feels like
did
forever.
in-person courses for more than 30 years, but COVID.
So we're doing one as a residential course. It's in New Jersey. It's on 400 acres. It's a very, very beautiful facility. The theme is being in nature. It's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd,
Of
Friday
October.
afternoon, evening, Saturday and Sunday. You can find out more about any and all of our seminars, and you can register at transformationmadeeasy.com. And I want to give a shout out, since Tia was here, to any librarian who has purchased our book for your readers. Your job is so important, and I think a lot of people underestimate you. So if you've ever found one of our books in
The library.
you may want to go thank your librarian, because we're thanking them too. All right, let's take our next guest.
Yes, Uli.
Welcome to being here.
Yes, where are you zooming in from?
Hi, this is Uli speaking, and I am in Germany, close to Cologne.
Okay. Nice.
When I read the title for today, what popped up for me was maybe I'm trying too hard. And let me explain. I have a 16-year-old daughter, and she's been challenging for quite a while. And my husband and I, we had a consultation with the two of you. And that was very helpful in that we set clearer boundaries, a clearer framework. And she moves within that framework. So that works really well. And we're very grateful for that and glad about that. But it didn't change the relationship in a way that she's more friendly or nicer. It's actually,
Uli, let me
yes.
See, if you want her to be more friendly or nicer, chances are she's not going to be. We have a cat.
Yes.
We took it to the vet the other day, and we were speaking with the vet's assistant, and this woman said to us,
Oh, you have a female
you
cat.
have a female cat. They're not very friendly.
Your cat's not going to want friends. She's going to want subjects.
That's right.
So it was kind of fun to then see her behavior through a lens of, oh, this is how she's supposed to be.
And this is how she is. And if I want her to love me, it ain't going to happen. But sometimes she'll just come over and be friendly. You see, you want your daughter to behave like you want, and you want it for you so you're not uncomfortable.
That's right.
So,
That's right. It's not that you want it for her. You really want it for you. That's the way it is with most of us about everything. We want to be comfortable. And if somebody's doing things that we don't approve of, want, like, prefer, it makes us uncomfortable. And we want to do something to fix them rather than realize that the source of our discomfort is us.
Yes.
Go ahead, Emily. It's fine.
No, I was just saying that's very true, because I don't want to feel uncomfortable.
Yes, you're normal.
It was interesting the other day at a Living Made Easy. Our friend Tracy was there, and she has a young son, Callan, who's about 3. And we've known Tracy before she got pregnant, before she had a baby. So we've been watching Callan grow from his earliest infancy. And he's now at a stage where he pings out with his looks and with his essence, like he's looking at you. And if you go, oh, hi, Callan, and you want him to respond, he'll run the other way. And then if you don't care, he'll come and he'll wave. Once you've forgotten that he exists and you're not really wanting his feedback.
So let's go back to children grow not only because of food, but because of attention. They need attention. Your daughter is getting more attention by being standoffish than if she was loving.
Yes.
She has your attention.
But see, that's part of the thing. She's got the love me do. So, but her version is looking to see what you want and then denying it, because that's the game we all put together when we were 2 or 3. And eventually, if we're fortunate,
we discover we've got that game, and the seeing of it is enough for it to stop dominating our lives.
See, I think part of the discomfort for you, Uli, is not only that you love your daughter, not only that you want the best for her in life, and you can see potential futures where if the way she behaves continues, it might limit some of her possibilities. If we set all that aside, I think a lot of the discomfort comes because she has behaviors that you still judge in yourself.
Yes.
Something that Tia said in the earlier part of this podcast, she recited back our definition of love, which is allowing somebody to be exactly as they are and exactly as they're not. And you want her to be the way you want her to be, and you don't want her to be the way she's behaving.
But that's you. I mean, when you get in a temper tantrum, and we all have them, we all have our own flavor of them. For Shy and I, that may not happen with any frequency, but every once in a while you get one of those things where something, you jump into an upset zone.
Like some gas from rotting vegetation pops up to the surface.
It's like a burp. Oof, boy, did that stink. And I really, the more you keep being kind to yourself.
Exactly. The kinder you are to you, the kinder you'll be to your husband and your children. But if you're picking on you, that same internal picking machine will pick on them. And look, you can't be good enough for that voice. Haven't you noticed that? No matter how good you are doing, it finds fault with you.
Yes.
So no matter how good your daughter's doing, your voice is going to find fault with her too. The game is to give up finding fault with yourself, and then you'll stop finding fault with everybody else. Realize you're okay the way you are, and you are okay, Uli, exactly as you are, even with your judgmental nature. You don't have to get rid of that.
Let's talk about those 3 principles of instantaneous transformation. I mentioned them at the beginning, and I really see it here with you. Life shows up exactly as it does. That's the second principle. In any given instant, like right now, I see you outside of Cologne, sitting in a room, headset on, you're talking to us. That's the first principle. Here we are, boom.
No, that's the second principle.
I mean, the second principle. First principle, you can either resist that and then it dominates your experience of yourself, or it's the, look, here we are. It's third principle. Anything you see without judging completes
itself in the instant you see it. So it's not about working on anything. It's just about noticing the way your life is showing up without the caustic commentary.
You know, I know.
Actually, without the, oh, I'm doing good commentary too. Because either way, if you're commenting on how you're doing, if you're judging how you're doing, you're going to be picking on yourself and anybody who happens to be around you.
I see this time frame as an opportunity for you and your husband to get closer. Because the two of you are being an allied front with the rules or the guidelines you've created for your family and how your daughter comports herself or behaves inside your family. And wanting to feel her love for you is going to currently right now go through your picture of what that looks like. So if she gets angry and stomps off, that's her expression of
loving you.
Okay.
That does not fit your picture.
That's not what you want.
No.
But you can see, yeah, because it was pretty close in. She's talking about yesterday, she got into an upset, and the way she was behaving with her husband was in effect pushing him away. But she missed that she may have recognized she was feeling needy, but that push was her expression of her love for her husband from inside the upset.
And it's all perfect. You see, in that moment, she couldn't be any different than she was. So thinking she needs to work on herself is a waste of time. Your life shows up newly in each moment. Newly, Uli. So it's a new moment right now. And so you don't have to worry about planning how you're going to maneuver the moments to turn out the way you want. Just be there for them the way they show up. And pretty soon things will get much easier.
I really want to go back to something you said a bit ago, Uli, when you were talking about recognizing, it was, I believe, a conversation Shia brought up, that you were realizing it's your discomfort. And you're so much more comfortable in yourself than you were.
When we met you.
Yes, definitely.
Would it be all right with you if I tell you my experience is you're doing fine?
But you
Thank
see,
you. Yes.
you might be, I've been listening to that voice in your head that's telling you you need to do more, different, and better.
I have a feeling, Uli, that you haven't given yourself permission to with
Consistency.
people you can trust, like your husband, your friends, communicating. Like, I'll give you an example. I know you're doing it here. You're communicating your concerns about your daughter, for instance. But Cheyenne might look at me and go, man, I'm feeling insecure all of a sudden. Or I might look at him and say, oof, I'm being hard on myself. I think I should be over this COVID thing already, and I should get busy. But what I really want to do is sleep. Like, we voice that internal conversation that's berating us out loud to a listener who is not going to judge us the way that conversation judges. Not me judging me. It's just that thought loop sometimes gets stuck. So laying it out there is like, oh, look what I'm thinking. And,
And the seeing of it is enough for it to complete itself.
Yeah, I see.
And so I have a feeling that from time to time, you hold it in because you're trying to sort it out.
That's correct.
And you can never sort it out in your thoughts.
It's like Einstein, the guy,
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the rest of them, but that smart guy. Einstein, he said, you cannot solve a problem from within the system
that created the problem.
And we're all closed systems. So it's, and then at some point, like you said, you and your husband created your own closed system. So you spoke with us, and we had some really, outside of your box ideas of possibility, and it's worked well. But somehow you listen to that thing that says, I haven't gotten far enough. There's more to go. I should be better.
So the game, Uli, dear, is to enjoy being Uli right here, right now, exactly as you are. And exactly what your life circumstances are.
And you know what? I feel like saying, welcome to humanity. If you find yourself feeling uncomfortable and insecure,
you are a human being,
and you allow yourself to be okay with that experience, you're giving your daughter permission to be uncomfortable, insecure, go through all of that, God, I don't even know who I am phase. I don't know about you, but as a teenager, there were times I really thought I knew who I was, and boy, was it a sophomoric idea, very young. And there were other times I felt totally lost, or how people perceived me was very different than how I perceived myself. I think that's just really normal. But when you can allow all of those things to be normal inside of you, somebody just walks into near your presence, and they go,
oh, this feels good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for calling in.
And yeah, I have one more shout out. This is to Uli. This is to Tia. This is to anyone who has ever been a guest on the show. Thank you for being so revealing of yourself and open. You are such a gift. And I'm certain people see themselves in you. And your honesty is so refreshing.
Thank you.
By the way, Uli, you ready for next week's episode? I think you're going to get a kick out of it.
What is it?
I was over this.
I thought I was over this.
I thought.
Now you're doing pretty good, and all of a sudden you fall off. You're like, hey, I thought I was over this. So thanks for being with us. We'll be back next week.
So come on back and don't miss being here.